ahadi zake Mungu atatimiza kwa wakati wake mwenyewe. Japo twadhani amechelewa.
Good morning, dear listeners. Welcome to today's community radio segment on Radio 47, where we'll be diving deep into the world of community radio development. I'm your host, Brian Laban Mwagi, from Rongo University Radio, and I am thrilled to have you here with us this morning. Joining me today in the studio are my amazing co-hosts, Caroline Mugure and Jevnea Nyongesa. How are you doing, both of you, Carol?
I am doing great, Brian. I'm grateful for having me today this morning. I am Caroline Mugure Wambugu. I'm really excited for today's discussion. Community radio is such an important tool, especially in connecting people and bringing about positive change.
Absolutely. Jevnea, I'm glad to see you here today with us here, sharing with us here. Welcome and introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Brian. First of all, my name is Jevnea Nyongesa, and I just want to say absolutely, Carol, I agree, community radio is about much more than just broadcasting news. It's a platform for people to share their voices, challenges, and solutions. I can't wait to hear the insights from our guests.
Exactly, Nyongesa. And speaking of our guests, we have some incredible people with us today who have first-hand experience in community radio development, And we'll be talking to Janet and Mora about this journey of community radio, its impact, and the future of these local stations. But before we dive into this discussion, let me remind you that we'll also be taking calls from some of our listeners who may raise questions and who may have some thoughts to our discussion today. Let's jump right in, shall we?
Yes, of course.
Thank you so much for being here with us today. Janet, let's start with you. You have been involved in community radio for many years, yes? Can you share with us a bit about your journey and how community radio, has impacted the communities you have worked with, maybe?
Sure, Brian. Thank you for having me in your station. My journey with community radio began about a decade ago when I started working with a local station. The beauty of community radio is its grassroots nature. It's not about broadcasting to a mass audience, but about reaching the people in your community, addressing their specific needs, and giving them a voice. We have seen firsthand how local radio can empower marginalized groups, spread vital information, and even drive social change. That's amazing, Janet. It sounds like community radio really becomes an integral part of the community. Mora, I know you've been involved with a station in a rural area. How do you see community radio impacting rural populations?
Thank you, Caro, for having me in this station. I will also say that community radio is a game changer in rural areas. Caro, in some places where people may not have access to other forms of media like television, in rural areas, people are poor. I can say they can only afford radio compared to television. So our local radio stations become the primary source of information.
True.
It connects people with the education content, market prices, health advice, and even entertainment within the local community. The real magic happens when local voices are heard, especially for rural women and farmers who are often overlooked in mainstream media. A community radio always gives voice to the voiceless in the community.
Wow,
Thank
that's amazing.
Thank you so much, our guest Mora, for that information. That's such a vital point, Mora. Community radio can be the bridge that closes those information gaps. Derek, you've worked extensively on improving the technical side of community radio stations. What are some of the biggest challenges you've seen in terms of infrastructure, and how can this be addressed?
Thank you very much, Jeff. In my opinion, I suggest that one of the major challenges we face is unreliable power sources. Many community radio stations, especially in remote areas, struggle with electricity, and this hampers their ability to broadcast consistently.
True.
And the other issue is limited access to modern broadcasting equipment, which can impact the quality of the signal. And however, there are ways to address this, solar power solutions being one, collaboration with larger media networks for equipment, and lastly, training local technicians can also be a big difference in our society. Thank you.
Those are some important insights, Derek. The technical side is often overlooked, but it's absolutely critical to ensuring the sustainability of community radio stations. They will be sharing their thoughts and experiences. Hello.
Yes, hello Brian. Thanks for taking my call. I think community radio plays an enormous role in local development. In my area, we have a small station that keeps us informed about everything from local news to agricultural tips.
Yes.
I've seen how it brings people together for discussions on development projects and even helps us awareness on health issues like HIV prevention.
Let's hear from our
The station
listeners
has
who are
become a
trying to
lifeline
call.
for many.
Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel, and thanks for sharing that. It's amazing to hear how community radio is actively improving lives in local areas. Now, let's bring in Stephen Fundi from... Hello, Stephen.
Hello, Brian.
Are you getting me?
I'm getting you clearly.
Okay.
Thank you for your call. I'm Stephen Vundi. I can say that our community radio faces a lot of challenges. One of the major issues is funding. Many stations rely heavily on donation or small grants, and it can be tough to keep the station running. As much as they do great work, they don't always have the financial backing they need. There is also the issue of ensuring the content is relevant and keeps us with the changing interest of the audience.
That's such an important point, Stephen. It's not just about getting started, but also about sustainability. We need more support for these stations, both financially and in terms of training for the people behind the microphones. Rosemary, we've got you on the line next. What are your thoughts on how community radio can empower women?
Hello. Hi. Yes.
Do you get me? Yes, I'm getting you. I think community radio is a powerful tool for empowering women in rural communities where women's voices are often marginalized. Community radio gives them a platform to speak up. It helps raise awareness on issues like gender equality, reproductive health, and even provides a space for women to share their stories. It's a beautiful way to amplify voices that are often unheard. Thank you, Janet. Thank you.
That is a fantastic point. It's all about giving people the tools to be heard. Janet, before we wrap up, do you think the future of community radio is secure? What do you see for the next few years?
I am optimistic, Jeffnaya. As technology evolves, so does the potential of community radio. We are seeing more stations embrace digital platforms such as podcast and social media, which means they can reach even more people. The key will be in securing funding, ensuring that stations stay locally driven, and keeping the content relevant to the community's needs. If we can do that, I think community radio will thrive for many years to come. Thank you.
Of course.
That's wonderful insights, Janet. And to all our guests, thank you so much for being here today and sharing your experiences. It's clear that community radio plays a pivotal role in local development, and with continued support, it has the potential to grow even further.
Absolutely, Brian. And a big thank you to our listeners who called in today, Emmanuel, Stephen, and Rosemary, for sharing your thoughts. It's inspiring to hear how community radio is shaping the world around us.
Yes, indeed. That is the time we have for today's discussion. Thanks to everyone involved, and remember to tune in next week as we continue to explore the issues that matter most. Thank you so much for listening to us.
Alizunguka miji na vijiji akitangaza neno, wao maskini na matajiri wote wapate kumjua Mungu na kuwafunulia siri kuu ya ufalme wa Mungu utakaokuja. Walosikia walipata uponyaji mkuu. Alizunguka miji na vijiji akitangaza neno, wao maskini na matajiri wote wapate kumjua Mungu na kuwafunulia siri kuu ya ufalme wa Mungu utakaokuja. Walosikia walipata uponyaji mkuu. Sisi ni mabalozi wake Kristo, tutangaze habari njema kwa kila lugha, tuwaonyeshe pendo lake wapate kumjua Mungu. Asili yako Kristo ni gani? Je, wawatenga wengine kanisani? Wawabagua watu wengine? Badili mienendo yako. Sisi ni mabalozi wake Kristo, tutangaze habari njema kwa kila lugha, tuwaonyeshe pendo lake wapate kumjua Mungu. Asili yako Kristo ni gani? Je, wawatenga wengine kanisani? Wawabagua watu wengine? Badili mienendo yako. Upendo huvumilia, upendo huhifadhi, upendo hauhesabu mabaya, haufu pamoja na kweli, tuzidi kwa pamoja, ndipo sisi tutabarikiwa. Upendo huvumilia, upendo huhifadhi, upendo hauhesabu mabaya, haufurahi udhalimu, bali hufurahi pamoja na kweli, tuzidi kwa pamoja, ndipo sisi tutabarikiwa. Sisi ni mabalozi wake Kristo, tutangaze habari njema kwa kila lugha, tuwaonyeshe pendo lake, wapate kumjua Mungu. Asili yako Kristo ni gani? Je, wawatenga wengine kanisani? Wawabagua watu wengine? Badili mienendo yako. Sisi ni mabalozi wake Kristo, tutangaze habari njema kwa kila lugha, tuwaonyeshe pendo lake, wapate kumjua Mungu. Asili yako Kristo ni gani? Je, wawatenga wengine kanisani? Wawabagua watu wengine? Badili mienendo yako. Sisi ni mabalozi wake Kristo, tutangaze habari njema kwa kila lugha, tuwaonyeshe pendo lake, wapate kumjua Mungu. Asili yako Kristo ni gani? Je, wawatenga wengine kanisani? Wawabagua watu wengine? Badili mienendo yako. Sisi ni mabalozi wake Kristo, tutangaze habari njema kwa kila lugha, tuwaonyeshe pendo lake, wapate kumjua Mungu. Asili yako Kristo ni gani? Je, wawatenga wengine kanisani? Wawabagua watu wengine? Badili mienendo yako.
Asanteni sana kwa kipindi ambacho kimeletwa kwako na Bwana Brian. Kwa sasa kimekamilika na tumeweza kupata mafunzo jinsi tunavyostahili kujenga na kuendelesha radio zetu za kijamii. Karibu tena kwenye kipindi chetu kipya. Katika kipindi hiki tutajadili mbinu bora za kuendeleza miradi ya kijamii kupitia vyombo vya habari. Tutazungumzia jinsi ya kushirikisha jamii kwa ufanisi, kudumisha uendelevu wa miradi yetu na kuboresha mawasiliano ya ndani na nje. Tafadhali endelea kuwa nasi kwa mafunzo zaidi na mijadala yenye manufaa. Karibu.